Welcome, Queen. Patience is a virtue, is what they tell us. But often, what we miss with this is that if a person has the ability to be patient, they also have the ability to be calm. And as you know, we are in our mini series, Love's Visible Impact. And among those necessary traits this guy needs to have or should have is calmness. And the big deal with calmness is this: it requires us to do four separate things. First of all, we have to be able to identify what we feel. And after we identify it, then we have to be able to sit with what we feel. Have you ever tried to help someone, but they wouldn't sit still long enough to get the instruction? Yes, sometimes we can be like that with our emotions. We're feeling different things, but we won't sit still long enough to determine what it is we're feeling. And if we don't do that, then we cannot go into the third thing that we need to do, which is process. So after we determine what we feel, we need to be able to sit down and process it, meaning actually think about how it is impacting us and what is our plan of action to handle it, to address it. That way we can go into the final stage, which is to communicate and articulate it to others. And do so in such a way that we do not come across as emotionally charged or unstable. So, ladies, being calm and having this trait is a big deal. And often we can tend to dismiss the little things. And when I say the little things, I mean if this guy is a yeller, a screamer, if he is a belittler, or even a stonewaller, especially stonewalling, because with stonewalling, it comes across as quiet at first. But then on the flip side, on the backside of it, there is this massive explosion. And remember, I use myself as an example as it related to yelling and screaming. Remember how I shared with you that I got so frustrated with having to continuously repeat myself to the guy I was talking to that I just yelled it out. I just screamed at him. But he was able to come back and say and express to me how I communicated with him and how that made him feel. And so in that moment, I had the opportunity to either say, hey, I don't care, or to make an adjustment. And I chose to make an adjustment because the thing with relationships, we all must remember, is not just us, it is the other person that also matters. And so I understood that if I wanted the relationship to work, I had to be willing to show up in a way that was healthy, that was loving, that showcased that I really do care and am committed to showing you that I care about how you feel and about the way that I make you feel. So as you think about the guy that you may be with, consider whether or not he has traits that showcase to you that he does not have the trait of calmness. Because oftentimes, what I have witnessed and what I have noticed in the people that I have coached is this: they have recognized on the back end, after the fact, that the guy they were with did not have the trait of calmness. And because he didn't have the trait of calmness, it came out in such a way that they were either verbally or physically abused. And we know that that is not loving. And you don't want to find yourself in a place, in a space with a man who is mistreating you with his words or with his physical actions. So to dismiss calmness is a big mistake, because we must have calmness within to have a successful, fulfilling relationship with someone else. Because if we don't have it, then that means that we internally have dysfunction, we have turmoil, we have conflict. And if we are showing up like that regularly on a day-to-day basis, that is not a good thing, and that is not going to create or help us sustain or maintain a loving, strong foundation in our relationships. even if they are not romantic, although today's focus is on romance. So think about the way that this guy is showing up with you. How does he talk to you? How does he treat you? How does he speak to you? How does he speak about you? When he's upset with you, what traits do you see? Do you see the trait of calmness? When he is disappointed or he disagrees with something you may have did or something that you may have said, how does his words, how does his actions show up? Do you see the trait of calmness? Because just because you don't agree with someone does not mean you have to fly off the handle or speak to them or treat them as less than. So truly sit with that and think about what I've shared with you today, because the thing about it is this: without calmness, irrationality or unstableness is the standard. Yet there is a standard that conflicts with our Savior's heart-filled example of love. As always, I'm Coach Sam telling you that 24 hours doesn't seem long, but in 24 hours, you can change your life. So go ahead and do something life-changing now.